Hi, my name is Amy, and I'd like to welcome you to TriHydro's LeakTracker Pro webinar and software demo. Today's session is titled Streamlined Reporting for Your OGI LDAR Program. We're excited to get started, but first I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. All attendees are in listen-only mode. If you have questions at any point, please use the question box in your GoToWebinar attendee panel. We'll save a few minutes at the end for Q&A after both our speakers have presented. If we don't get to your questions in our hour together, we'll answer them directly via email after the webinar. Additionally, you'll have an opportunity to complete a short survey when you exit the webinar. It should take just a minute of your time, and your responses are important to us and help us create valuable webinar experiences for you in the future. Finally, please be aware that due to the number of people viewing this webinar across the country, we may experience slight bandwidth issues, and thank you for your understanding during this time of increased online activity and remote work. Now, I'd like to introduce our speakers. Dan Wood, one of TriHydro's air regulations experts, will be monitoring incoming questions in the questions panel. And our speakers today are Carrie Ward, TriHydro's LeakTracker Pro Project Manager, and Chad Flynn, Product Manager for LeakTracker Pro and TriHydro's Technology Services and Solutions Business Unit. With that, I will let Chad and Carrie take it away. We look forward to learning more.
Thanks so much, Amy. I'm curious, can people see our streaming webcams right now? I'm only seeing the presentation, but I hope they can. So hey, let's get started. Thank you everyone for spending time with us today and listening to the presentation for the next hour or so. We're really excited to show you how you can streamline your leak data collection and reporting process. LeakTracker Pro is comprised of a mobile app for efficient field data collection and a web-based dashboard for simplified tracking and one-button reporting. Currently, LeakTracker Pro is used all across the country at compressor stations, natural gas plants, processing facilities, well sites. And with that background, I'd really like to get the presentation going. We're going to go ahead and turn off our webcams and then dive into the material. So for those new to TriHydro, we're an environmental consulting and engineering firm. We have a wide range of projects in the air, water, and waste sectors, and we've been around for about 35 years. And over these 35 years, we've really grown to understand what it takes to collect data in the field, what to do with those massive amounts of data, and how to help our clients comply with those regulatory requirements. So with that, we've really honed our team to be subject matter experts in a wide range of fields, specifically in the air regulatory world for today's presentation. And with that, we have this deep regulatory understanding. We know what that regulatory environment looks like. We know that it's constantly changing, and we've taken that information and channeled that back to my team, which is the Technology Services and Solutions team. So that collaboration between our subject matter experts and our software developers is how we've got to where we are at today. So currently we have projects in products in a wide range of product areas. So Project Direct is our groundwater database. FenceLine Pro is our database that helps track the refinery sector rule and the requirements for refiners. Field Vision is our highly configurable field data collection and reporting platform. And then the one that we're going to be talking about today, LeakTracker Pro. So implementing any of these software products is really straightforward. We have it set up such that there is no impact to your IT department, right? So the data is hosted securely within the cloud, and there's no need for them to install any software. We have an in-house dedicated support staff who's available to do trainings, to help guide your way, get you up and running, and get you successful. And then, as the regulations change, as technology changes, our products change. They evolve with the times and with the regulations to make sure that we are on point and assisting you with your regulatory needs. So LeakTracker Pro, like I mentioned, is comprised of a mobile app and an online database. Now, the steps that are involved in getting the data from the field all the way to that report are numerous and nuanced, and the product was there to help guide you along the way. So from the field, there's the data entry and record keeping aspect. So we're not talking about field notes in a logbook being transcribed to Excel and then emailed around the company. Now that data is collected digitally one time in the field. And then in the database, we are tracking the schedule of when these facilities need to be surveyed, whether that's a semi-annual basis, monthly basis. We're tracking those critical dates and sending you out alerts such that you will know when those facilities need to be surveyed. And following on that is the repair and remonitor timeframes too. So whether that be 15 days, 30 days, you'll be notified when that follow-up activity needs to be conducted. Now, the information sharing and the agency reporting, these are, I think, the two most critical aspects of the product. So on the information sharing side, everybody is collecting data in the same way and viewing it and interacting it in the same way. So we don't have numerous spreadsheets floating around, being emailed around. We're avoiding those mistakes that can happen in that sort of an environment. The data is secure, it's in one format, and everybody can see it the same way. And then for the reporting piece, so you could imagine you're 365 days down the road and you say, oh man, we need to really start collecting that data and putting it into that template. Well, with LeakTracker Pro, you can simply press the button to create that report, whether that be for the quad away, for a state of Colorado, or if you have your own internal voluntary program that has a specific report template, we are one button away from generating that for your needs. So to that end, you can see that LeakTracker Pro was built for the specific purpose of capturing that survey and that leak information in that field, and then manipulating it such that it will comply for your regulatory environments. So what if you have multiple regulatory issues? So this is highly configurable in the way that you could have overlapping regulations. So if you have a state-based reg, you have quad away, or you have your voluntary program where you need to conduct these surveys. The facilities you have can have multiple overlapping regulations, and LeakTracker Pro knows when to have that data collected and how to generate those reports.
Good afternoon, this is Carrie. So with that background, Chad and I are going to conduct a typical workflow using LeakTracker Pro. Now, Chad is going to play the role of a technician in the field conducting a routine survey, and he is going to use the mobile app that's been downloaded to his tablet. Now, the mobile app is available in both iOS and Android, and it can be downloaded from the App Store just like any app on your phone. The site administrator, which is a role I'm going to play, has granted him permission to access all of the facilities in his region. So he's going to begin his day by logging in to the mobile app for the latest survey to download the latest leak and survey information for the sites that he will be visiting today. Now, a very important thing to note is that he does need internet connection to log in. But once the app knows who he is, he can go offline and conduct his surveys, record information throughout the day until he is ready to come back at the end of the day and upload all of that data.
Thanks, Carrie. So what we're looking at now is my mobile app. So this is on my tablet device, but it could be on your iPhone, your Android, or whatever device you may have handy with you. So I've logged in and I will conduct a new survey by tapping the Start Survey button at the bottom of my screen. LeakTracker Pro is loading all of the facilities that I have access to, and it's also looking at my spatial location too, because in the facilities, I have the spatial coordinates, the latitude and the longitude for that facility, and it knows these nearby facilities. So you can see that I'm closest to this Campbell facility. So I'm going to choose that one because I happen to be, maybe I'm parked right next to that facility. it pops up to the top of my screen of my list, and I will select that one. All right, so LeakTracker Pro has 3 tabs along the process. We have my start survey, we track my leaks, and then we finish or we end survey. On this first start survey tab, we have my facility name, the regulations that I have to comply with. This is what happens to be an OGI Quad OA, and then a Colorado Reg 7, which is also a monthly OGI for this particular facility. This is an example of a well site, but like I mentioned before, this could be a compressor station or a gas plant, all highly configurable. Since the regulation is an OGI, this inspection method is grayed out. I can't change that at this point. We can also track observation path. I currently have that turned off for that synchronization, but I could pull that up to view the path that I need to take to observe potential leaks. Survey reason happens to be routine because it's been 60 days since I did this, but I could also acknowledge that this was a follow-up resurvey if that was the case. The inspector is automatically populated with my name since I am logged into the app, but if Dan was with me, I would add him into the inspector list and have that saved. Okay, so then I get to choose my monitoring equipment, which is basically my camera, my OGI camera for this survey. And so I've got the 20B today, and it's telling me that an equipment verification is required. So I'll go through the process and do an equipment verification check. So for the Quad OA regulation, it's required that this equipment check is done every 24 hours. So at the beginning of the day or at my first facility, I will acknowledge the video that I took, the distance, composition, percent methane, flow rate, and those default parameters that I use for the equipment verification. Save that. And then this will be the only time in 24 hours that I need to do that check. So it's just the very first time in 24 hours. With all that populated, we'll go ahead and save the survey. Okay, now we begin to walk our observation path, looking for leaks, and if we find one, we will toggle over to the leaks page and add a new leak. Now you can see as I've done that, I can see the previous survey had a couple of leaks there. This is an example of a connector, and it looks like it was a connector found back earlier this month, and I can view the photo of that too. I can pull this up to look at exactly, follow the arrow of where that leak was found. Okay, we can go back there. And it looks like that one was put on delay of repair. So that red text is telling me the status of that previous leak. This one here had an issue with the flange. That's in a not repaired state. So if this is a follow-up survey, I can go in there and add my repair record, confirm it, and then finish out that previous survey leak. Let's walk through an example though of creating a new leak. Okay, so what I'm going to do here then is say let's add a new leak, and I will jot down what the component type is. In this particular case, this is a leak at the thief hatch. Notice that there is no subtype, so that's automatically populated for me. Also automatic is the time and date stamp for every step along the way in the process. If I'm placing a tag, or if I had a tag there previously, we can jot that down. And then for location description, we're going to say first tank on the right. So the purpose of a location description and a photo is if you have a particular workflow. So LeakTracker Pro allows for multiple configurations of workflow. And what I mean by that is if I'm going out there to the facility, I'm the surveyor, I can maybe just capture the leak information and then send it all back to LeakTrackerPro.com, right? So I'm not repairing anything, I'm not doing that. But in that case, if I have somebody else, like a maintenance crew, come back later, they will want to know the description on that. They will want to see the exact photo of where the leak was found so that they know exactly what to fix. So that's the purpose of that. The workflow we're going to do today is I'm actually going to go through the whole repair process and upload that info. Okay, additionally, LeakTracker Pro captures the latitude longitude for where that leak was found. Okay, so that's the general info on the leak. Let's save that. And then let's go through that other workflow where I want to create a photo in here. And I'm just going to use my mobile app and I'm going to take a photo. So we'll go say, let's take photo. And I've got this series of tanks here. Okay, we will take a picture of that. We'll say okay. And then here's where we can use LeakTracker Pro's app to draw with our finger an arrow to that particular leak. So I'm going to draw it across the screen like so, and then tap done to use that photo. So that photo will be uploaded to LeakTracker Pro when I finish the survey. Okay, next step along the way then. So let's say I am able to repair this here and now. So we'll go to the repairs and say, yeah, let's add a new repair record here and say that this is a repair attempt. We can also say that this could be a confirmation or it could be a DOR in this case, but here we're doing an attempt. So this is my repair attempt. And what I did is I actually replaced that thief hatch, and I'm going to acknowledge that the repair was complete. And I'm going to confirm it too. Okay, multiple confirmation methods are available, but in this case, I had my camera there. So we were going to say that I used that camera and there were no visible emissions. Time and date stamp is automatic, and we can save that information. So my repair steps are listed here. This leak information is done, so we can go back to the general survey info. That thief hatch is shown here with my current survey leaks. I walk the rest of the facility. I don't find any other leaks, and I'm not going to address these previous ones during this particular survey, so I'm ready to end the survey. So we'll go over to end. If I did deviate from the monitoring plan for any reason, I can toggle that to the right and acknowledge my reason here in the field. But today I did not, so we'll turn that off. And for quad away, it requires your temperature data. So we'll just punch that in real quick. And we will end the survey. Now, I got a warning message here that says the site photo is missing. For quad away, it's required that you take a picture of the signage of the facility with your OGI camera. And LeakTracker Pro can capture that file name once you type that in. So if I took the picture, I will put the file name in there into that field, and then LeakTracker Pro would know what file that was. So this is a good heads up warning for the field tech to say, did you take that photo? Do you need to punch it into LeakTracker Pro? And if so, we can continue. Okay, at this point, you can imagine I drive to the next facility and we could have multiple in here throughout the course of the day. Once I have finished with the day's work and I'm back within wireless or cellular range, wherever I have connection again, then I can go ahead and finalize these surveys, post them up to LeakTrackerPro.com, where they can be immediately available. All right, Carrie.
Great. So I'm going to hit refresh so I can pull in the data that Chad just uploaded. Now, as soon as Chad has hit that upload button, the data from the field is immediately available on the website. I'm logged into LeakTracker Pro here from Colorado, or it could be from the corporate office, and review the data that has just been submitted from the field. Now from the dashboard, I can see what's due and manage facility information. All of the required information about your regulated facilities is stored in LeakTracker Pro and can be accessed from the facility summary page. So the Sweetwater facility up here at the top has the regulations identified here, and we can see we've got some time to complete that survey. Now we can organize your facilities by region, and that would be a user-defined region, that whatever makes sense for your field crew or how you keep track of your facilities. But if I sort on that region, then I can see what's due for all of the facilities in the DJ Basin. Now, let's check out recent surveys and see the most recent data that Chad just uploaded. Here, Campbell facility is the survey that he completed. It took him about 6 minutes to get through that survey and upload that into the system. And for those of you that don't know, he's out in California, so that's pretty quick access to that data. We can see that he has detected a leak, but that it is not unrepaired because he was able to repair that leak and confirm it in the field. Then, of course, we can also see that Dan was out there with him. So if I click on details, I can take a look at the information from his survey in more detail. And folks with the right access, like me as the site administrator, can edit that information that has come in from his app. So if you need to revise it or do spell check on that information, make sure it looks the way it needs to, those are the edit controls here. But Chad will come in here and upload that site photo, or I could do it for him just by browsing to wherever it's saved on the flash drive from the OGI device. And now we have the site photo in there to demonstrate that we were physically at that facility. Now let's take a look at the leaks that he recorded. I see for the current survey, we have just this one thief hatch that he captured. If I click on that for some more details, I can see all of the information that he created for that leak. First tank on the right, coordinates, and I can also see that photo that he uploaded with the arrow pointing to exactly where that leak is. Now, Chad was able to repair this in the field, so we can take a look at that repair information. You can see that then an attempt was made and he was able to confirm that. And both of those records are now kept with that leak. But let's say one of those other scenarios that he mentioned where he wasn't able to repair that leak and he needs to get this information to the maintenance crew. The best way to do that is to come back to our survey and run this export survey detail report. So our system is preparing a report with all of the information from the survey, as well as all that leak data, in a nice little report that you can email over to your maintenance operator, or you can print off and hand it to them directly. But this has our site photo, all the survey information, lists out Dan and Chad. So if the maintenance operator needs to get a hold of them for whatever reason, he knows exactly who detected that leak and who to talk to about it. So then we have the one leak and all of the details for that leak, including the photograph. So at this point, there's no question about it. Well, they know exactly what needs to be taken care of and how to get there. Now, this is one example of the reports that LeakTracker Pro can generate. Let's take a look at all of our other ones. So our reports are organized into two different categories. We have general and regulatory. Now, the general reports are ad hoc reports that we set up to help program managers manage their data. So what if we would like to produce a report that shows all of the history of leaks detected in the last year? I will click this button and it will build my report in Excel for me. We can pass this off to whomever needs to see it, or we can take a look at it and see if there's any facilities that we see some common leaks in and maybe optimize some maintenance programs before the next event. What if we feel like the leaks are not getting repaired out at the DJ Basin region? We can run an unresolved leaks report. Let's do this one in PDF. So that all we have to do is run that and email that over to the maintenance manager so they can pop through each of these and make sure that they're taken care of. Let's hop over to the regulatory reports now. You can see that our system archives all the past reports here, and by simply clicking a button, LeakTracker Pro will build your SEDRI report with all of the required information. So at this point, all you have to do is upload it into the SEDRI system. There's no scrambling about to try and gather all that leak and repair information and make sure it's reported in the right spot, because it's all right here in LeakTracker Pro and can be reproduced with just a click of a button. Now, we also do this for the state-specific rules, like the state of Colorado, who recently released new reporting requirements, and we took those requirements and rolled them out into our last update. That way, all of our customers that are reporting in the state of Colorado are up to date with the rule. And since it's due in 12 days, our customers will have no problem submitting that report on time. We do this for several other state-specific reports as well. So if you do have facilities that are regulated in other states that have their own report, we can add buttons for those reports as well down here. Now, the Colorado Regulation 7 report needs to be generated in PDF, so a different format. And you can see how LeakTracker Pro reports detected leaks by frequency as required by these new updates to the report. And it also keeps track of any changes to the frequencies for the facilities and reports those accordingly as well. Now, our customers say that this is the best part about LeakTracker Pro, you know, how easy it is to generate these reports with just one button. But some might argue that it's not the reports, but the notifications that the system will automatically send your team to make sure that repair deadlines and confirmation deadlines are not slipping through the cracks. So let's go to my settings and take a look at those notifications. These notifications for me that I will subscribe to as a user can be sent via email or text message. And by checking this box, I can get a notification that lets me know when an unresolved leak is due, and I can set about 3 days prior to that due date. So this one's probably handy for your maintenance crew. This one will notify me when an unconfirmed leak is due in about 3 days prior to the confirmation due date. So again, this one's probably for your OGI operators. This one will notify me when a facility is due for a new survey. This one will be for a routine survey for the facilities that I am in charge of. And then this one will allow me to keep track of when my OGI certification is going to expire. So I can upload that certification and keep track of it in LeakTracker Pro, and then set the expiration date so that when it's about 7 days expiring, I can go in here and take care of that so that I can make sure that I'm always compliant when I'm heading out into the field. And then finally, this one is the delay of repair. This is probably for the program managers that need to approve a component that was marked for delay of repair by an OGI operator from a survey. So if I check this button here, I'll get an alert as soon as that survey is uploaded, and I know I need to come in here and review that and then authorize that DOR. Now, these are the subscriptions that I have subscribed to, but since I am also a site administrator, I can subscribe my team to receive these notifications as well. And that way they cannot unsubscribe to them, and we can make sure that they are getting these notifications and this information on time. So those are all grouped by the type of role that they have been signed up for. So our standard user will be our OGI operators, and this way I can make sure that they're going to get let's say a 10-day warning for when an unresolved leak is ready for repair. Same with our maintenance operators. And that's how the notifications work, just to make sure that you're not letting any of those deadlines slip through the cracks and everybody is in tune with what they need to keep on track with. Now, that's it for the website. Chad, would you like to take it back and show these folks how to implement or what it takes to implement LeakTracker Pro for their facilities?
Yes, fantastic, Carrie. Implementation is easy, and here's how we do that. So we get you guys set up with a dedicated database for your data, okay? So it's separate, it's secure, and it's safe. And you just send us a list of facilities. So it starts there with those facilities, and we get the facility name, we get maybe an address, the latitude, longitude, and then we get that set up. And then from there, we build out that information. And then we say, okay, well, so what regulations are applicable to those facilities? Are there multiple regulations we need to apply to any particular facility? So we get that all set up in the background. The regulations that we have for 5 different states, quad away, those are all built out and configured already. We will just apply them. If you have your own specific voluntary programs, we will work with you to dial in the details of those, you know, the frequencies, what data is required, and get your specific voluntary program set up and applied to those facilities. From there, we get a list of users and then what role those users would be in. Typically, we kind of roll this thing out with the site admins first, then the surveyors, then the maintenance operators, get everybody up to speed there. We make sure that we apply those notifications like Carrie just showed so that nothing gets lost in the process. And then we can kind of slice and dice the data too based upon your region. So if there's, you know, something in the Permian or DJ Basin, we can set up those regions for the facilities such that we can make the reporting easier and then also assigning access to those facilities easier as well. And as much as we'd love to come on site next week and do some trainings with you guys, we probably can't right now during the pandemic, but hopefully soon we will be able to see you all face to face and do those trainings. In the meantime, we're happy to get on another call like this and do a remote training, and we can do those for different user groups as well. Again, we kind of start out with site admins and surveyors and maintenance operators, and we go through the process of what it looks like to collect that data like we did today and then show it on the website also like we did today. And with that, I'd like to have Amy chime in here, please.
Thanks, Chad and Carrie. Now let's move on to the Q&A. As previously mentioned, Dan has been monitoring your incoming questions, and he is available to answer any technical questions you might have regarding the current regulations. If you haven't already, please type your questions in the attendee panel. Now, let's go ahead and move on to our questions. It looks like we had a couple come in here, guys. Let's see. Dan, what do you do if you have a facility that is both Wyoming DEQ quarterly and Quad OA semi-annual?
Thanks, Amy, and thanks for the question. So LeakTracker is configurable based on that facility's needs, so whatever regulations that you need. So in this case, you have a quarterly survey and a semi-annual survey. LeakTracker will always meet the most stringent requirements of each regulation. And so whether that be, survey frequency, leak repair deadlines, or even, all the way down to atmospheric conditions or something that one regulation requires and the other one doesn't, you'll always be able to collect all of the data for every single reg. And it actually works really well. I can speak in just based on my experience with it.
Great, thanks, Dan. When setting up user notifications, it appeared you can only set them up for users and operators. Can I, as a site administrator, set them up for all other site administrators? Carrie, do you want to take that?
Sure, Amy. So you can subscribe one of the notifications, which is the delay of repair notification for site administrators. But I would encourage each site administrator to log in and set their own user notifications like I did the first part of the notification segment that I showed.
Great, thanks, Carrie.
You bet.
Another question came in. What if you don't have internet coverage? Chad, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, as part of your standard operating procedures, we like folks to log into the app when they're in the office or the hotel room or wherever they may be, connected to the internet before they start their work day. And that will get the latest survey data and leak information downloaded to their device. Also, if there's been any updates to the mobile app, that will get downloaded to the device as well. From there, they can go really remote, offline, and collect all that data. It's all be saved locally on that device. And then when they're done doing the surveys, then they come back to the office or hotel or what have you, and we'll be able to finalize all that information and post it back to the database.
All right, thank you, Chad. Dan, can you use LeakTracker for gas plants?
Yes, absolutely. So right now, that's customizable as a natural gas processing facility is actually the terminology we use in the system, consistent with the regulations. So whether that be subpart W or using it potentially moving forward to the new alternative work practice, it is set up to where we'll be able to accommodate that at any time.
Thank you, Dan. Here's another one. Can you upload a movie of a leak along with a photo? Chad, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, most definitely. LeakTracker Pro has been optimized to store lots and lots of data. And so we can handle movie files, video files, pictures. We can track all of those contained in one place too. So you'll have the video file, which you took there, and the photos of the leaks and the signage, all connected to that one specific survey record. And there's no problem with uploading that or downloading it back on the website to view it. It's all been really optimized for that workflow.
Excellent. Dan, I think this one is for you. Do you have the subpart W default emissions factor built into LeakTracker Pro?
Yes, we do have the some emission factors built in with some facilities, not others, but we do have some of those built into one of the reports that you can actually export and do some emission calculations. If you have specific needs for one facility to the next, or for some reason it's not something that we don't include right now, it's definitely something that we can help you with and configure for you.
Chad, are you planning to add functionality to LeakTracker Pro to adapt to the 2020 AWP?
So we've begun gathering functional requirements for the alternative work practice. And we've got that kind of in a process right now where we're reviewing the requirements from our subject matter experts and our software developers and kind of pulling out the information that we need and get that queued up for development. So yes, it is. It's in our radar. We've had a series of discussions about it, and we're excited to get that built into the product so we can help folks out with AWP.
Okay, I think maybe one more question. What do I do if I don't want people messing with leaks? How can I control who can edit what? Carrie, you want to take that one?
Sure. So as the site administrator, you have the ability to set users up and invite them to create an account. And when you do that, you're going to designate a role, a user role. So we have all the functionality in LeakTracker Pro locked down by role as it makes sense to the task that they need to perform in LeakTracker Pro.
Very good. Okay, I saw one last minute question. Let's go ahead and tackle it before we close out here. Chad, can the system be tied into a work order system?
Yes. So what we're doing right now is we're in development to expose our API, which is our programming index, such that we can get that link set up to other external work order systems, whether that's Maximo or any of the SAP, any of those other work order management systems. So we're in the process of exposing that information out of LeakTracker, and then we can begin hooking that up to external systems. And that's really an exciting place for LeakTracker to go in the next year or so.
Great. Well, thank you everybody on the phone for all of your great questions. Thank you, Chad, Dan, and Carrie for your wonderful presentation. If you have additional questions, please be sure to fill out our exit survey. There's an opportunity in there to request one-on-one time with our experts to answer any additional questions you might have and discuss your facilities needs. Also, please be aware that a recording of today's webinar, along with the PowerPoint slides, will be delivered to your inbox tomorrow. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Amy, for running the show here today. And thank you, everybody, for joining. We appreciate your time and look forward to following up with you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.